Hello there, this is James the Scrofty, knows 1978, and in case you hadn't figured out yet that 99 times out of 100, when people condemn someone who is on the left as an anti-Semite or fearmonger against the rampant anti-Semitism on the left, it's not about Jews, it's about Israel, not so subtly implying that either you cheer the Israeli government's war crimes and crimes against humanity, or you're an Islamist terrorism-enabling socialist, and remember, the Nazis were socialist, then Trump's declaration that the 80% of Jewish Americans who don't vote Republican are either grossly ignorant or disloyal to Israel should have been your final clue. After all, Trump didn't accuse them of being disloyal to America, but to the nation that he has repeatedly described when addressing American Jews as their country, perceiving them not as Americans at all, but as foreign guests who are good with money and should be saying thank you for everything he's done for their country by voting for him in 2020. And as the opinion piece from the Washington Post linked down to Underbar explains, far from being a positive thing, his philo-Semitism, believing all of the bigoted tropes, myths and stereotypes about Jews, with Trump wanting Jews, not black people, to count his money, but not regarding the fact that in his mind they're all self-serving money grubbers as a bad thing. In fact, it's the one thing that he respects, for now, is just as dangerous, if not worse, than flat-out Jew hatred, because on top of normalising and legitimising these tropes, myths and stereotypes, the moment something happens to turn the so-called philo-Semite against Jews, such as, to pick a random example out of the air, a petulant and emotionally stunted man-child resenting the fact that Jews won't vote for him, all of the tropes, myths and stereotypes instantly become negative, such as when Michael Cohen struck a deal with federal prosecutors and Trump sneered that Jews always flip. Because remember, as I've explained in multiple videos in the past, at least one of which I'll link down in the underbar, oppression, discrimination and what have you aren't about hatred, they're about power. And on the flip side of that coin, as the ultimate self-serving narcissist, just as is the case with everyone else who ever crosses his path, Trump adores Jews and will do anything for them as long as it benefits him. Here in Britain as well, people are legitimately arguing without a twinge of irony that anti-capitalism leads inevitably to anti-Semitism, implying that all Jews are indeed money-grubbing Shylocks and Fagins, but that's okay because those on the right and in the centre don't resent them for being rich, unlike those filthy, stinking, culturally Marxist communists, once again using a literal Nazi conspiracy theory that was created for the express purpose of demonising Jews, cultural Bolshevism, without the slightest twinge of irony, genuinely arguing that anti-Semitism is simply a matter of envy along with a love of Islam / hatred of Israel, because remember, Stalin was also an anti-Semite, before turning around and condemning George Soros and other members of the globalist elite, no prizes for guessing what that's code for orchestrating the migrant caravans and the Islamification of Europe. Ooh. Because those are the bad, culturally Marxist, pinko, lefty, liberal, globalist Jews against whom Trump makes repeated dog whistle attacks, because they support his enemies while not supporting the extermination of the Palestinians, Israel's right to defend itself against Muslims, terrorism, and who therefore pose a threat to white dominance and supremacy in Europe and the US, not abiding by the nod and wink understanding that Trump, Orban and other leaders have made with Netanyahu, that they won't interfere with that country's plans to create a fascist ethno-state just so long as Jews don't interfere with theirs. Because ultimately, that's all it is. Not even an alliance, but a transactional deal between two groups of authoritarian supremacists to whom social justice, human rights, and the left in general pose a mutual threat. And from evangelical Christians to white nationalist how dare you call us fascists, supporting Israel is merely, on the one hand, a convenient tool to service their own agenda, which ultimately includes getting all Jews out of their countries without doing anything that makes them look bad, and at the same time, at least until they had played it so blatantly and so often that all but the most gullible and or disengaged citizens have figured out that it's entirely self-serving, the ultimate declaration that I can't be racist because. But just as is the case with every token gesture that the right ever makes, from, look, a few of the millionaires who hate poor people and immigrants that the new Prime Minister has appointed to the cabinet are black and South Asian, and a couple of them are actually descended descended from immigrants, so that means we can't possibly be xenophobic, to we've elected 2 female leaders who hate immigrants and the poor and did exactly the same things that male Tories would do. It is all about using the veneer of progressiveness to maintain the power and privilege of those who already have it to begin with.